Hey, Kyle's wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NXT UK from August 4th, 2022, recorded in London, England at the BT Sports Studio. Coming off a historic episode of NXT UK where we not only saw Briggs and Jensen retain the NXT UK tag titles in a dominant win over Mandrews and Wild Boar, we were all witness to one of the greatest comebacks in pro wrestling history when Ilja Dragunov hurt his back early in the match against the much larger Wolfgang and was still able to take or retain the NXT UK title. True sign of Umbasikba right there. So Ilya fought through the pain, was able to retain his title, and somehow got through that. You might have seen me last week. I was a little I didn't really I even called that match trash because I thought that it just seemed so it had took me out. It was too hard to believe that with that much back pain he was able to slam um Wolfgang around and stuff. But what I did say last week was if there was a legitimate injury on Ilya Dragunov, which I was assuming was the back, then it would explain why I didn't like that match as much because I did say that the selling of Ilya kind of made it seem like he was so much in pain that then it was hard to believe that he was able to make the comeback, and it kind of took me out of the match, reminding me that it's not a real fight, which is always the number one thing you don't want to have happen in wrestling. So I was kind of down on that title match last week between Dragunov and Wild Boar, but the opening segment this week kind of explains what I was thinking, which maybe there was a legitimate injury because the selling was way too good, and it made me think, oh, how is he able to even come back? Like, this is weird. So anyway, also last week we saw Blair Davenport has stayed undefeated since returning from injury, defeating Amel in somewhat an unofficial number one contenders match, but we'll find out more about that today. And then supposedly, don't even get me started because I've got a rant later on, man. But it was supposed to be the NXT UK women's title in the main event. The final boss, Miko Satomura, defending against Saray, her trainee. I wrote a bunch of stuff about that, but I guess I'll save it for another time because we do not get that match. And we're not even really told why. So it's just ridiculous. Anyway, we also saw Oliver Carter break into Die Familia's compound last week, leaving a note and breaking their dinner table. So now tonight, Oliver will take on Rohan Raja on his quest to get rid of Die Familia, but Ali turned down the offered to join them after Ashton Smith, Oliver Partners, got injured. So you'd have to imagine Die Familia won't be taking the recent actions of Carter lightly. So they must have something devious planned. Also, Shaw Samuels has been on a mental breakdown ever since losing all his money in the Heritage Cup loss that Noam Dar suffered. So Shaw probably has a devious plan as well. And we finally heard from Tyler Bate last week after his best friend Trent Seven attacked Tyler, basically for not wanting to do everything it takes to keep the UK tag title. So Tyler looks to be on a path of destruction with a target clearly on Trent Seven. Maybe we'll hear something more about that tonight, and we definitely do. But first, we start with an emotional segment here at the beginning. Oh, sorry, P Blacks, I didn't see you there. What's up, bro? We get into this week's episode of NXT UK, and the first thing we see is Ilya Dragunov coming down to the ring. He's got crutches and an ankle brace on. So I thought it was his back that was supposed to be hurting last week, but apparently he hurt his ankle in that match. The crowd's chanting Unbasikba. And yeah, so now, like I said, I did preface by saying I thought that match was trash last week in the main event, where everyone else I heard praised it for being such a classic match. And oh my gosh, did you see the comeback? But no, to me, the comeback was too fake. If he was that hurt, it was ridiculously fake to think that Wolfgang would lose. And it took me out of the match because of that. Once you add the word fake to a match, then I'm all of a sudden not caring about that match anymore. So last week, we saw against Ilya comes out and says in the ring, he's got his crutches and an ankle brace on. And Ilya says, last week against Wolfgang, I suffered a severe ankle injury, but I fought to the very end because this title is not a privilege. Being the NXT UK champion means fighting to be the best on this brand. And the brand only has fighting champions. As much as I would love to continue to do that, this injury means that the doctors will not clear me. Nobody knows how long I need to recover. Medical feels it's best if I relinquish the title today. So what should I say right now? Should I talk about how hard I worked to get this? Because I won't. Every single superstar in the back has worked extremely hard. Should I talk about my rough past, growing from Russia to Germany, being poor, being underestimated? No, I'm not going to do that either. We all have to fight our own battles. Mine is nothing special in that case. Or should I talk about something different? Should I talk about the fact that had I been more careful with my health while fighting, this wouldn't have happened? No, because I don't regret anything. That's just me. I sacrificed my entire existence. When I look in this ring, I see bits of my soul lying everywhere on the canvas. All I wanted to do was show my true soul, my honest face. I wanted to encourage people, and that with the will you can with will you can endure anything as long as there's a reason, and win. I fought with my soul as your NXT UK champion. As sad as I am to relinquish this title, as sad as I am to know somebody else will take my place, I know one thing: no one beats me except myself. I will come back as a better man than you see today. If you think I was strong holding this championship, you'll be surprised at how strong I become when to get it back. Long live the Tsar. So the crowd chants Basikba, then they chant undefeated as Ilja Dragunov lays the NXT UK championship in the middle of the ring and then leaves. So we'll find out more about the vacated title later on. So I'm not really necessarily going to apologize for my comments last week. I did mention that if there was a legitimate injury, then it made things seem a little bit more, because my whole thing was that the selling from Ilja last week was so good that it just kind of made it look that he wouldn't have been. It made it look fake that he was able to win later on. So the fact of the matter was that the selling, yeah, it was good because he had torn his ankle in half during early in the match. So we see a slow-mo replay of the ankle with a spotlight on it and everything going completely sideways early in the match. So while the story of the match was supposed to be Ilja selling his back and coming and through all the adversity to win the match, that was the story they told. But the story that ended up happening was he tore his ankle early in the match, and that's why all the grimacing pain looks and all the big overselling and stuff wasn't overselling. It was real legitimate pain that Ilja was in, and he finished the match with a pretty good match. That makes that match way better in my opinion now that I know that fact, and I'm definitely not going to call it trash, but I will say the original story of, oh, my back hurts, I can't do anything, oh, I can't even run the ropes, oh, and then I able to slam the big Wolfgang later on multiple times to win the match. So anyway, we'll hear more about the vacated title later on. We now see Chase U sightseeing around London, and I swear we've seen this Chase U sightseeing around London for the third time now. I've seen it on NXT 2K, and they showed it on NXT 2.0 as well. So we see Andre Chase, Bodhi Hayward, and Thea Hale, the Chase University guys. They show up to the NXT UK Performance Center. They see Shaw Samuels looking like a bum, missing clothing items, sleeping on the wall outside of the Performance Center. Andre says, now this is a teachable moment. This man is down on his luck. At Chase University, we don't keep people down. We encourage them to get up. So Bodhi Hayward then goes over to Shaw Samuels and says, hey, bro, I've been down bad before too. Mr. Chase teaches us that when adversity hits, we persevere. And if you persevere, you can get into Chase University just like me. So Shaw then says, great, more Yanks. Chase University, I graduated from the art of blah blah, and I wrote down blah blah because I rewound the episode about 16 times, and I can't tell what Shaw Samuels graduated from. He said something that started with the word B, but I have no clue what he said. Anyway, he says, I graduated from the art of blah blah blah. You may see that I don't have any shoes. I may have lost my house and my wife, but I've still got my trunks and my boots. I still work here. I'm gonna go see Johnny Saint, you mug. So Bodhi says, that guy works here? So that was a good comic relief segment after that heavy emotional opening segment with Ilja dropping the title. So that was a good decision to put this comedy relief segment, and that sets up a match later on for today. Bodhi Hayward versus Shaw Samuels. So after an ad break now, we see Johnny Saint and Sid upset that Ilja got injured, and they're thinking it and talking it over what to do next. So Mr. Saint says, "This is bad news, but we've got the situation sorted out." Sid then says, "Ilja Dragunov has been one of the greatest champions this brand has ever seen. With this unfortunate situation comes opportunity. 8 individuals will compete in the tournament. The winner will be the new NXT UK champion, and the competitors and brackets will be revealed later in this episode. But for the time being, we've got things to discuss." So we'll get back to that a little bit later. 13 minutes into the show now, we finally get our first match of the night, and it will be Oliver Carter versus Rohan Raja. So ever since the great moment when Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith won the NXT UK tag titles against Mustache Mountain in a triple threat match, Oliver's world has been crashing down. They had to relinquish the tag titles immediately after winning them due to Ashton Smith getting injured. And then right in the title match that they won the titles was where Ashton got injured. So D Familia then covered Oliver's or offered Oliver a spot in their family. And now that Oliver was all alone, Oliver turned them down, of course, and that made D Familia mad. So now all by himself, Oliver has 3 members of D Familia after him. Oliver was able to take out Tailman in a match a few weeks ago. Now that Oliver has wrecked their dinner table in fancy china, it's become even more personal for D Familia, and that might be bad news for Oliver if he does not have any allies yet. So Oliver could potentially win this match tonight, but still lose the war with the 2 other people ringside. So Oliver definitely needs to find some allies soon. We'll see if he has any in time for this match. We have no timeline on Ashton's injury, so maybe Oliver knows or thinks he could outlast D Familia until Ashton returns. So we'll just have to wait and see. First out for this match is Oliver Carter to big cheers from the crowd. He's always getting big cheers. One of the most crowd favorites here in NXT UK. Oliver looks unbothered by the 3-on-1 prospects here as D Familia then come out, accompanied by Tailman and Charlie Dempsey is Rohan Raja. So Tailman could definitely be related to Andre Chase. They look very similar after seeing him in back-to-back segments here. So Carter starts the match fast by attacking Raja as the bell rings. Raja fires back, but Carter stays in control with some big strikes and a drop kick. Raja then gets clotheslined right out of the ring, but immediately Charlie Dempsey distracts the referee as Tailman and Raja trap Carter in the ring apron, both attacking him here. So back in the ring now, Raja's in control, keeping the pace slow against Carter, who loves the quicker pace action. So Raja throws Carter upside down into the corner, then applies an abdominal stretch. The crowd rallies for Carter to get out, so he does, reversing into an abdominal stretch of his own. So Raja now gets out, hits a lung blower that has Carter down in pain. Raja then slams his head into the mat multiple times. Raja counters a move, but Carter counters right back in mid-air to take control. That was nice. Carter now quickens the pace to his liking, hitting a massive lariat and a beautiful springboard moonsault. But Raja counters the next move with a back elbow, then back body drops Carter over the top ropes, but it happens to land right on Tailman and Charlie Dempsey. So now Raja is the one that trapped in the ring apron right after this. Carter unloads some big strikes. Back in the ring now, Carter hits a running, spinning heel kick into the corner, and that gets the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Oliver Carter. So Carter may have just picked up his second singles win over 2 of the 3 Familia members, but the 3-on-1 problem shows up immediately after the match. Tailman and Dempsey rush the ring, start beating down Oliver. Raja gets back up, and they have a 3-on-1 here. Did Carter find any allies before this, knowing he was going to be in this situation? And the answer is no. Raja's back up now. They triple team Carter when Dempsey now attacks the knee hard here, also applying a one-legged Boston Crab. Eventually, officials are the ones that have to come save Carter, but it looks like the damage has already been done, and it looks like Carter has no allies in the back to help him. Hopefully, Carter's knee isn't too damaged after that attack. We'll find out a little bit more about that later in this episode. So in the back now, we see Chase U student Thea Hale, who says, "Oh, I could have gone to Cambridge, Yale, Harvard, or Oxford, but Chase U was the perfect fit for me." And then I don't even know who Thea was talking to. I think the camera person, but Thea then gets interrupted by Eliza Alexander, who says, What are you on about? What are you actually talking about? University? I went to the school of hard knocks. I'm actually getting sick and tired of you Americans coming over here and taking opportunities from people like me. Because let's be realistic, I should be contending for the NXT UK Championship. Beating people up around here seems to get people's attention, so I'm going to make a statement out of you. I'm also going to prove that Chase U, and then Thea gets mad and says, "Oh, we don't go there. Chase U's the greatest university in the entire world. I can't with you." So that sets up a match probably for next week. They didn't make it official. And after this week's main event fiasco, I'll never trust the NXT UK when they tell me there's going to be a match ever again. So apparently at some point we'll get Thea Hale versus Eliza Alexander and her big fake lips. So anyway, after an ad break, D Familia are in the back with their work, happy with their work, and then the mysterious voice behind the camera says exactly what I was thinking. She says, "Oh, why are you so happy? Rohan Raja just lost." So Tailman tells the other two to leave, and Tailman says, "What do you mean we lost, huh? Did you see what happened to him? It was actually a win. The eye always has a plan." So then Sam Gradwell walks up and says, "What my eye sees is a little man like you only gets his way around here when he's got his little mates running around doing the dirty work for him. If you stand across the ring from me, your eye doesn't have a plan for that." So Tailman says, "Of course, you can talk." And then Tailman just slinks away so he doesn't get beat up here. Because everything Sam said was true. So now we've got Chase U making their entrance now. It'll be Bodhi Hayward against Shaw Samuels. And Shaw was upset that they thought he was a bum outside the performance center earlier today. So Shaw Samuels comes out looking like a hobo. He's even got the hobo sack over his shoulder, and Shaw looks through the sack. He finds a flat cap, and now he's looking for handouts from the crowd, but nobody gives him a single pence. So Shaw now has mismatched knee pads and a stained out tank top, and they tie up to start the match. Bodhi uses his power advantage to take Shaw down, but then is disgusted by the smell of Shaw, who must not have showered in a while. Shaw ignores this and just tries but can't take control here. Bodhi slams him down again while yelling at Shaw for being dirty. Shaw comes back, hits a big strike and a cornerback elbow as the crowd now chants, "Take a shower," to Shaw Samuels. So Bodhi then evades two attacks and hits a hip toss. Shaw bails out of the ring. Then Thea yells through her megaphone that scares Shaw Samuels. Bodhi looks to take advantage, but Shaw is able to hot shot Bodhi across the ropes to take control. Shaw slows the pace down here and wears down Bodhi's back. Bodhi eventually hits a big kick and a few strikes, but Shaw hits a scoop slam followed by multiple standing elbow drops. Bodhi counters a middle rope attack here with a nice power slam, and then two chop blocks to the front of the knee has Shaw in trouble. A shoulder tackle also takes Shaw down, and a standing splash gets Bodhi a 2 count. So Shaw's in trouble here, but he evades a corner attack, hits a pretty bad looking spine buster, and gets the 1-2-3 off of that bad move. So the winner of this match by pinfall, Shaw Samuels. Shaw celebrates with the referee, screams for joy, and that was a fine match, but it kind of made Bodhi look like he can't take any damage. I felt like Bodhi barely took any damage in this ending, and just that little weird botched spine buster looking thing ended the match. So weird ending here. I'm guessing we'll see Thea Hale in action next week against Eliza Alexander. So maybe Chase U is going to have better luck in that match. And maybe we'll see Andre Chase himself step in the ring before they leave. So now we're in the back. Oliver Carter's coming out of the trainer's room, and the male voice behind the camera now, usually it's a female, but this time it's a male voice behind the camera asking Carter for an update. And Carter says, "My leg's in bad shape, but I'll be good." And then Sid walks up and says, "Carter, I've got some great news. You'll be a part of the 8-man UK tag title, or the NXT UK title tournament, and your first round matchup will be next week." So this shocks Oliver, who has a hurt knee right now. But Oliver says, "Next week, oh, as it's for the championship, and I've been a champion before, next week is fine. No injury is going to ever take that away from me again." So that should be a good match next week. In a little bit, we'll see the brackets. So I'll break that down a little bit more. But now we see I guess the brackets are here. So now we see highlights from last week's main event, as well as earlier in the show where Ilja relinquished the title. And now we have an 8-man tournament starting next week to crown a new NXT UK champion. Starting with next week, Trent Seven going against Wolfgang, who was in the match against Ilja when he got injured. So Trent Seven versus Wolfgang, and Oliver Carter fights the third member of D Familia, the one that he hasn't beaten yet or faced, Charlie Dempsey. So those will be next week. 2 weeks are the other two first round matches. It'll be Mark Andrews taking on the returning Joe Coffey, and then Tyler Bate takes on Kenny Williams. So first of all, that's kind of weird because Kenny Williams just lost his last match to Tiger Turan. So why would Tiger Turan not be in that spot instead? Just based off of storylines. Also based off of storylines, I'm guessing that Tyler Bate and Trent Seven are going to meet in the finals. They're on opposite ends of the bracket, so that seems like what we could get. Although there is a possibility for an all Gallus finals as well, with Wolfgang taking on Joe Coffey. So those are our two options basically right there. I don't think other people like whoever wins the Oliver Carter Charlie Dempsey match probably doesn't have a chance. Kenny Williams probably doesn't have a chance. Mark Andrews probably not. So I would say maybe Wolfgang, Joe Coffey, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven are your only 4 out of the 8 that have a chance to win this one. And it should be interesting to see what we get. We've still got the like with the Gallus thing. We know that Joe Coffey might turn on the rest of Gallus pretty soon. So it's time for the main event. But I write down before Miko and Saray can make their entrances, Blair Davenport comes out. So Blair Davenport comes out with a microphone and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but there's been a break in your previously scheduled programming because earlier today, Satomura and Saray experienced something quite unexpected. Me. Ever since I've returned from my injury, Satomura keeps ignoring me. And if it wasn't for me breaking my ankle, I would be standing here right now as your NXT UK Women's Champion. Everyone knows that. So if I don't get what's rightfully mine, then I will continue to cause chaos in NXT UK." So then Amel comes down and says, "Hold on, this is not how things work. You can't just insist on having whatever matches you want. Everyone here wants to be the next to challenge Miko and is willing to work for it." So then Eliza Alexander also comes out and says, nah, absolutely not. You see, maybe Blair has a point. The louder you are, the more people pay attention. But neither of you deserves to be next in line as long as I'm in NXT UK. So Blair then says, "You two shut up. You can say whatever you wish to, but no one takes action like me. I've beaten everybody on this roster. I am next in line for the NXT UK Women's Championship." So then Isla Dawn, of all people, appears in the ring behind Blair Davenport, and Isla says, "Hi, Blair. I don't seem to recall you ever beating me." So then Sid, who's kind of been down here since the beginning, but hasn't said anything yet, where was I? So Sid says, "We still need a main event tonight since you are both dressed to compete. Isla Dawn, you'll be taking on Blair Davenport, and the winner of that match will be the number 1 contender." So that match will start now. So Sid, Amel, and Eliza leave. And what the heck? What the actual heck? Where's Saray? Where's Mako for the title? Where's the big title match you've been telling me that was going to happen for 2 weeks now? I've been looking forward to this match for 2 weeks, and sure, it might happen at some other point, but who cares anymore? Now I don't even really care about it. You told me it was going to be in 2 weeks. You told me it was going to be today, and it wasn't today. The match didn't happen. We didn't really get an explanation. All we heard was Blair Davenport say, let me read exactly what she said. She said, "Satomura and Saray experienced something quite unexpected. Me." So, okay. So that doesn't even really tell us, did she attack him or not? Is Mako and Saray attacked and they're in the trainer's room right now? Can we at least get an update? Did Sid know what happened? Did he listen to what Blair just said? Blair basically just said that she attacked the two, and then Sid's gonna give her a number 1 contendership instead, and because he needs a main event now. Blair Davenport just admitted to attacking them, and are they even attacked? You never told us. You ended this whole episode without really telling us what happened to Saray and Mako, the match that I've been looking forward for 2 weeks now. Why would you advertise something and then not deliver on? I get that this is a whole storyline based business and this isn't real sports, but come on. Then you're telling me that anytime you tell me, "Oh yeah, we got two tournament matches next week," should I believe you? Should I just think, "Oh yeah, they probably won't happen," or whatever, So it's just a slippery slope when you're advertising things for 2 weeks. Big title matches, big main event. It was kind of a letdown episode as it was. especially with Ilja having to drop the title. That's unexpected. That's not on them. But the rest of the episode was a lot of talking. We weren't really getting a lot of matches. The Bodhi Hayward match was unexpected, but that one was really short too. The Oliver Carter match was pretty good, but that was short. And now we get this match that, sure, under different circumstances, I'd be fine with Isla Dawn versus Blair Davenport for the number one contendership. But in this circumstance, I could give one flying F about this match. I don't want to watch this match because it's replacing something that I've been told has going to be there for 2 weeks. So instead of watching the Saray Miko match that I really wanted to watch, I now have to watch Blair Davenport and Isla Dawn for the number one contendership. And does that mean that Saray just loses her number one contendership? Is she no longer number one contender? Or they didn't explain that either? So is this for a second number one contender for after when Saray fights Miko? Or is Saray never going to fight Miko? We don't have any of these questions answered before this went off the air. So to make matters worse, this match sucks anyway. And I didn't even want to watch it to begin with. So, just ridiculous stuff here. Let's get into it a little bit. This is just crap. This is trash. Why can't they tell me exactly why your scheduled main event in a fake sport isn't happening? Is it because Saray couldn't make the flight? If that was the case, then just tell me Saray had travel issues. Or show me, oh, we're outside of the trainer's room. Saray's in there and she can't walk on her knee. Like, none of that. So we never even see Saray and Mako, who had a big press conference in the last episode setting us up for this episode. But nope, we don't even see Mako or Saray in this episode. We have no update on them whatsoever. So Isla takes control over Blair in this number one contendership match, wears her down with some slow, boring offense. The announcer says it must be something serious. That must be why the main event didn't happen. Kind of hinting that Blair also took Saray out and Miko, or both. So I'd much rather have seen that match, but I'm guessing the story here is it still makes no sense because Sid had to have been listening to what Blair said when she said they ran into an unexpected problem, me. So this is one of the least cared about matches that I've had to sit through in a long time. I'm not going to do a blow by blow as I usually do for every single match I cover. So eventually Blair fights back, takes control. Isla's about to win after taking control back, but then Eliza Alexander rushes the ring and this match that nobody wanted to watch because we were promised a title match between Mako Satomura and Saray. Nobody wanted to watch this match to begin with, and then it's just ruled a no contest. Meal also comes out, and there's a 4-women brawl, and NXT UK just ends. That is pure trash. Pure trash. You advertised for 2 weeks that there's going to be a Mako Saray title match. We don't even get to see Mako and Saray on this episode. You don't really tell us what happened to them. We have to watch a stupid number one contender match that lasts about 3-4 minutes with some slow, boring offense, and then it's a no contest when the other women run down. That's crap. That's BS. What does that really make me want to tune in next week? I've been excited for NXT for a while. Oh, we had that last week. It was the big match with Ilja and Wolfgang and Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen defending their tag titles. But now I come to this one and it's pure trash. A great, terrible episode. This was a terrible episode. Sure, the Ilja Dragunov stuff in the beginning was very emotional, very from the heart, very real, and that sets up now an 8-man tournament, which pretty much all. I'm not even going to get into that, but it's just ridiculous that they would say for 2 weeks it's Mako versus Saray for the title and then just not even show Mako and Saray on this episode, not giving us a reason to why it didn't happen, replacing it with a much worse match that lasts 3 minutes and then has people come out and it's a no contest anyway. So you make your own stories. Why would you make your story be worse than it was? I get that you're trying to tell a story, but it's your own little world that you can create. Why would you ever advertise for weeks something and then it doesn't happen unless there's a legitimate reason like an injury in real life or travel issues, which then in that case you could have told me, oh, there was travel issues, or oh, look at Saray's we can't talk to her right now, but Saray's in the trainer's room with her knee busted open. We don't know what happened, but it looks like somebody attacked her. No, instead we just get these little hints dropped by Blair. Oh yeah, they ran into a problem. So what does that mean exactly? Did you take them both out? Did you only take out Saray? Did you only take out Mako? Are they here? Are they not here? Did you take them out with your car hitting them? Did you take out their knee with a crowbar? So I'm guessing these are things we'll find out in the future. But now my love and want to see the next episode of NXT UK is out the window. I'll be here covering it, but I'm not excited to watch NXT UK next week. I was excited this week, but now I'm not going to be burned by them again. So yeah, we've got 2 tournament matches. We'll probably have Thea Hale versus Eliza Alexander and her big fake lips. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. So this gets a big 2 thumbs down from me. 2 big thumbs down. This was terrible. This was trash. They should be they should be ashamed to I get maybe like there was travel issues that we didn't know about, but then to just replace it with a craptacular match that had even more talking before it on an already heavily talking episode of NXT UK. So it's just crap. Hopefully it's better next week. This was trash.